Hi, my name is Amanda and I'm one of the beekeeper's wives here at Wild Honey Bee Farm, and today we're going to be making some honey blueberry muffins. So the guys always like some muffins in the morning. I've made banana chocolate chip muffins made with honey, and today we're making blueberry muffins made with honey because the other day we went blueberry picking at Ridge Island Groves. They have some really good fruit, and we had a lot of fun picking the blueberries, and they're very sweet, best blueberries I've ever had. So I'm excited to make some muffins today. So let's get started. Okay, for the first step for these muffins, preheat the oven to 400 degrees. And then the next step is to melt the butter. So here I have the melted butter that I melted in the oven, so it also gets the measuring cup pretty warm. So we're gonna just pour that butter into your bowl. And then the next thing is that we have our measuring cup that's hot, so now we can add our honey. So we have our Wild Honey Bee Farm wildflower honey. So it's raw honey, so it's going to be really healthy, add some nutrients to the muffins. So we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of honey. So the recipe originally calls for 1 1/4 cup of sugar, but because it's honey, you don't need to use as much. And then because the measuring cup is pretty warm and it has the butter, it just allows it to just slide right out and get as much honey as possible into the bowl. So now that we have our butter and honey in the bowl, we're just gonna cream it. So we're gonna mix it until it's light and soft. Okay, so this recipe calls for 2 eggs. We're just gonna add the eggs to the bowl one at a time, and you're gonna mix them individually in between the eggs. So we're gonna give it a mix, and then we're going to add the next one, and we're gonna give it another mix. All right, in this step, we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So right here, I have some organic vanilla. And we're just gonna add to our bowl, and then we're just going to mix it until it's all blended. In this step, we're going to add the flour and the salt and baking powder. So I used salted butter, but it called for unsalted. So I'm not gonna add all the amount of salt that it asks for. It asks for a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, but I just put a little pinch into the flour. So we're gonna add, the flour, the salt, and the baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And we're also going to add the milk. Don't forget to add the milk in this step. I forgot to add it before blending, and it caused the batter to get along the edges and stick to it. So don't forget to add the milk so it stays very creamy and doesn't stick to the edges of the bowl. And just mix until it's well blended. So in this step, we're gonna add the blueberries, but we're gonna save 1/2 cup of the blueberries so that we can mash it, and then we're gonna add it later. So we have our 1/2 cup of blueberries, and don't forget to use thawed blueberries, because here I used frozen, so it made it a little bit harder to mash. So make sure that they're thawed, but mashing them really does make a difference. It allows that purple color in the batter that'll look really pretty later, and it really does add the blueberry flavor throughout the muffins. And then now that we have added our blueberries and we have our mashed blueberries, we're just going to add it all into the bowl, and we're going to give it a mix. So we're just gonna mix those nice blueberries into the batter, and it's already given it a very pretty purple color. Okay, now we're just gonna line a 12-cup standard muffin tin with cupcake liners. And then some people use a ice cream scooper. I do not have one, so I am just using a small measuring cup and just pouring it into the cupcake liner. And then the next step, it says to reduce the oven heat to 375 degrees and bake at 375 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. I baked it at 30 minutes and they came out great. The next step is to remove the muffins from the tin and cool at least 30 minutes. Enjoy those honey blueberry muffins.